So recently I've been spending a little too much time inside my own brain, and this led to me thinking about some random things, but one of the random things I thought about led to the creation of this video. And what that is the two most recent Call of Duty Zombies games made by Treyarch. Those of course being Cold War Zombies and Black Ops 4. And I was thinking about both of these games, and I think most people can agree that both of these games are not probably top tier zombies games, and I was thinking about what really held them back. And to me it boiled down to both of these games having one fundamental problem with both of them. And these are things that are just impossible to overlook. It's not just simply the crashing from Black Ops 4 or the lack of unique locations for Cold War. It was something more fundamental to each of these games. And to me, what they really were is Cold War being a bit too simple and a bit too easy, whereas Black Ops 4 was way too complicated and artificially difficult. And I realized that both of these problems are on the complete opposite side of each other, which is super weird because normally when a developer releases multiple games and they both have major issues, normally it's the same problem, but instead with these two games, they have complete opposite problems. And I was thinking about how exactly did we even end up here? And the answer I came up with was just Treyarch simply misreading the room. And this of course leads to an overreaction and then an overcorrection. And to really explain this, we have to look at both of these games and the previous game that came out before them, because I think the major issues with these games actually rooted from the most previous game before that. Of course, for Cold War, this will be Black Ops 4, but for Black Ops 4, it will be Black Ops 3. And that's where I think we should first look at, because how did Black Ops 4 become this overcomplicated, overly artificial game in the first place? And I think just by looking at simply the Easter eggs in Black Ops 3, even though this could apply to a lot of things in Black Ops 3, I think still we could see exactly that maybe the writing was on the wall even back then. And let's just look through the season of Black Ops 3. And it first started off with Shadows of Evil, sure the giant, but we're not counting that. But if we just take the main Easter egg for now, we could look at that, and the main Easter egg was relatively simple. I don't think many people argue that the main Easter egg is really that complicated or overly difficult, right? It's a relatively tame main Easter egg, right? But then we got the Rising Rocket, and the Rising Rocket, it's a bit more to it, but it's not like complicated by any stretch of the imagination, right? It's a bit more difficult, but it's difficult in a good way, I think we'd argue. But then it got a bit weird, because after that we got ourselves Zetsubo no Shima, and Zetsubo no Shima's Easter egg was just weird, and it had a lot of that artificial difficulty, right? Not something that is difficult because it's difficult to do because of your skill in zombies, but it's just difficult because it's weird, right? Or random. And that was a consistent theme inside Zetsubo. But then we kind of had a half of a bounce back with Garage Crovy, because that main Easter egg had a lot of good going on it, but at the same time it had some random weird steps, whether it be a couple of the challenges that were not very cool, or it be that Valve step, which was just so weird. But really where it showed more than anything, and when we really should have expected Black Ops 4 to be the way it was by just looking at Revelations, because Revelations, I would argue, is just what every Black Ops 4 map ended up being. I mean, honestly, think about it. Like, Revelations' main Easter egg has a bunch of artificial difficulty and a ton of just complicated stuff for the sake of being complicated. Like, literally, Revelations feels like a Black Ops 4 map. I'm not joking with you guys. Like, the fundamental problems with almost every Black Ops 4 maps is seen in Revelations. And to me, this is why we should have expected to see Black Ops 4 end up this way. Because even though it was just the main Easter egg in Revelations, we should have expected it to spread to the rest of the game, whether it be side quests, Wonder Weapon quests, Pack-a-Punch quests, or just even random story stuff being overly complicated. This is all stuff we saw the trend start in Black Ops 3, and we should have expected it to continue into Black Ops 4, and sure enough, it did, and we had more of this weirdly complicated stuff and artificially difficult things happening in the game, and to me, this really hurt the experience of Black Ops 4. But why exactly would Treyarch do this? How did they misread the room so bad? Well, to me, I think it was something that we were seeing during Black Ops 3, because think about it, what was really popping off during Black Ops 3? Just looking at YouTube, you could tell it was the overcomplicated storyline that was popping off, but also these Easter egg hunts. I think Noah J during Garage Crovy and Revelations Easter egg hunts had like 400,000 people watching him live, like concurrent viewers, and they saw that and they thought, how do we extend this more? And to me, what I think they decided to go with was just to make those Easter egg hunts last a bit longer. And how they decided to do this was by simply making it artificially difficult and overly complicated for the sake of being complicated, only to make these hunts last a bit longer. And to me, that was the grave mistake they made. They thought that they could expand something that was successful in Black Ops 3, but instead it just hurt the overall fun of the game during Black Ops 4. And this, of course, leads us to Cold War, and I think you guys all probably know where I'm going with Cold War here, because what did I already say was the major problems with Cold War? Yeah, it was too simple and a bit too easy. And as you guys may be able to tell, it's once again Treyarch misreading the room coming from Black Ops 4. And instead, this time of making it an overreaction, they instead did an overcorrection. And they saw how everyone was complaining about everything was so complicated, everything was way too artificially difficult, and they saw all that, and they made the game a bit too simple and a bit too easy. And I'm not just saying this because I'm some seasoned veteran zombies player who's so good at it and I don't realize how casual players actually didn't think it was easy or something like that. No, I mean, honestly, just look at the Easter egg hunts for this game. Like, Easter egg hunts used to take a day or two to find the main Easter egg, but with Cold War, these Easter eggs were getting solved within the first 4 hours. Like, it was not a difficult task to do. And even when they were solved, like, I think every single main Easter egg that was solved, I beat it on my first attempt outside of the first Outbreak main Easter egg. Like, really, that's how easy these things were. And this was a problem because, like, why am I going to go back to retry these things and do them over and over again if they don't even feel like a challenge? I don't really feel like I accomplished anything because it just feels like I just played another match of zombies. I didn't really do anything special when I completed the main Easter egg. I just played another match of zombies and I didn't even struggle all too much. And I really don't think it just hurts the game in that aspect and just the regular Easter egg runner. In fact, I think it hurts especially the hardcore audience for the Easter eggs, because, like, think about Black Ops 3 and how people are still speedrunning those Easter eggs till this day. Yet nobody has speedrun anything Cold War in forever. And you know why? Because it's so simple. You can't optimize it any further. There's no way to optimize this game any more than people already did a month after the map came out. That's just not something that is done anymore. And this is, to me, the main reason why you don't see nearly anybody still playing Cold War zombies that much today. And it hurts me to say that because I actually like Cold War a lot, but I can't overlook the fact that I haven't played the game in months and I don't see anybody else playing the game. And the reason I'm not doing it is because it feels like I've already done everything. There's no more challenge left in that game for me. I've already done it. I just don't have any desire to really go back. And to me, the main reason replayability was so hurt in this game was because it was too simple, because it was too easy. There's no reason to go back and play this game really at all anymore. But where does this all leave us going into the future of Call of Duty Zombies? Well, if you just watch up to this point, you may think that my answer to this problem is that we just gotta find that middle ground. There's a middle ground between complicated and simple, and we need to find that. And all maps going forward should be just that. But honestly, no, I would hate that. Because if every map is just medium difficulty going forward, like, that's just going to have the same problem. Because really, what the problem is with Cold War and Black Ops 4 is that all the maps really just feel the same in terms of difficulty and playstyle, especially in Cold War. There's really no variety in difficulty going from map to map. And to me, this is the reason why Zombies needs to look back at its own past and realize what used to work. And what I'm talking about here is games like Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. Because these maps, what they had was variety. There was a variety of different style of maps. There were difficult maps, there were easy maps, there were complicated maps, and there were simple maps. And heck, you even just had wacky maps sometimes, right? Then that was all the variety we had in these games, right? Like, for example, let's use Black Ops 1. I mean, the difficult map was Origins, the easy map was Mob of the Dead, the wacky map was Transit, the difficult map was Die Rise, and Buried was super simple, right? There was variety to be had there. And no matter what style of zombies player you were, you had something to have fun on. And especially for people who just don't like one specific style and they want something fresh each time, you had that. You had variety. You didn't get bored of the same playstyle over and over again. And this is a very big problem that Zombies had in its last 2 iterations, especially in Cold War. And to me, this is what they need to do in the future. Give us a variety of maps. There needs to be different style of maps. There needs to be different gameplay styles, different difficulty levels, different wackiness, and just different things for us to have variety. And with that, that is what I want to see for Zombies going into the future. I don't want some wacky middle ground that probably doesn't exist. I want variety of maps in a single Zombies game.